Peace, peace, peace once again. It's me, Furious Black. Um, if you like, subscribe. If you like my videos, share them. Even leave me comments of what you think. But what's really going on out here, right? What are we really talking about when we talk about the deep state, the cabal, and what's happening here? The internet, them censoring people on the internet. What are we talking about? You know, it's like you can't tell the truth. You can't tell the truth or you get censored. This guy right here, this guy got emails from certain people in our country put them out and went on the run. Those people in our country pretend to stand up for human rights and human decency. And we have yet to see that. Someone that exposes other people's crimes should not be a criminal. Should not. These people are mad because they have been exposed. Their whole cabal, syndicate, connection has been exposed. You don't believe me? You don't believe me? You don't believe me. But have you looked into it? Question. All right, let's watch with this Mr. RT.
Founder would be at a high risk of suicide if he was sent to the United States. Professor Michael Kopelman spoke at the extradition hearing in London on Tuesday and expressed concerns about Assange's mental health.
He's made various plans and undergone various preparations, such as confessed to the Catholic priest who granted him absolution, began to draft...
What is interesting is his emails exposed the Catholic priest. The other interesting thing is they say Trump offered pardon for emails, and then it was denied. I feel like that's a lie, one, because they have enough to go on. But, you know, I don't know.
Farewell letters to family members and close friends. He's drawn up a will. I concluded the risk of suicide if extradition became imminent or should actually happen would be very high.
Meanwhile, more than 160 current and 4...
Now, mind you, he said extradition, not what did I just say? Damn, I forgot what the word was now.
The world leaders, along with lawmakers and diplomats, have called for Julian Assange's release. They've signed an open letter to the British government. And the WikiLeaks founder is currently in prison in the UK, awaiting a decision on whether he'll be
Oh, it's a pardon. So he's fighting against extradition, but they could also give him a pardon. You know, it comes down to, is Trump going to do the right thing? That's what this is. Is he going to do the right thing? Is he going to allow the Democrats and the cabal to destroy America in this fashion? Is he part of them?
Extradited to the US to face espionage charges. A member of Lawyers for Assange says the case is being highly politicized.
The case of Julian Assange is very clear-cut. Morally, there is no doubt who is in the right and who is in the wrong. On the one hand, we have a journalist who has exposed incredible war crimes and torture and corruption. On the other hand, we have the embarrassed superpower that wants to prosecute him. It couldn't be more black and white than this. As legal experts, we can say unequivocally that what is going on is a political process.
Assange is accused of leaking a trove of secret US military and diplomatic documents. His extradition...
So why is he in trouble? Shouldn't those people that got exposed be in trouble? Think about this. Think about this. Think about it.
Hearing had been delayed by the COVID pandemic. The proceedings have been repeatedly marked by protests outside the court building as well, with public figures and political activists coming to support him. Former MP George Galloway, the first rapper MIA, reacted to the developments.
I still feel hopeful. It was just...
Oh, you know, when I watched this yesterday, I didn't even realize that was MIA. I probably didn't even look at the screen, but she said something important right here.
It's nice seeing Julian. I wish I could tell him all the ways that, you know, the world is changing and people's press freedom or just ability to be truthful or speak freely on the internet is actually way worse than it was a year ago.
Yeah, they got fact checkers lying on people. They censoring people. They're making sure that your followers don't see what you say. You know, the thing about me is, I don't want to be rich. I just want people to have these real conversations and to look at this stuff with real eyes, you know?
And, you know, so much censorship is allowed.
The trial is back on again, but you used the best word that I've heard to describe it, trudging on. It's trudging on in complete silence. None of the British media are covering this story at all, even though it's the trial of the century, right in the heart of London, in some cases a few hundred yards away from the big media houses, but none of them attend. None of them are interested, even though for the journalists in those media houses, if Julian Assange goes down, so does journalism. And where he goes, they might one day be forced to follow. We know how the case is going. It's going extremely.
So them doing this is extremely dangerous because what they're doing is they're taking away this man's freedom for being a journalist. For being a journalist. I was gonna go and do Jimmy Dore's video yesterday for today. It's funny because I didn't see it here when I was looking. Maybe I went a little too fast. Yeah, I don't know where Jimmy Dore's video is at. That's very interesting. But Jimmy Dore kind of goes over this situation as well, and he's been doing it a lot longer than me, a lot longer, so he could definitely, you know, get you to the point that you need to get to with understanding and awareness about the situation. Can't find it. I don't got two screens.
US government and the British government. The tragedy is that probably won't make any difference at all.
Right, live to London next then, and human rights activist Peter Tatchell. Peter, hi, welcome back to RT. According to the psychiatrist I referred to earlier on, Assange has been suffering from psychotic symptoms, including hallucinations while in solitary confinement. As far as you're aware, is Assange getting the help he needs, or at least a robust assessment?
Well, certainly the evidence is that he's not receiving adequate medical and psychiatric care. He has, as Professor Koppelman has indicated, for many months suffered from hallucinations, voices in his head, weight loss, depression, anxiety, and insomnia. These are all the signs and signals of someone deeply traumatized, suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. Now, the idea that such a person should be extradited, given these grave health issues, is extraordinary and indeed unforgivable and contrary to basic human rights principles. I happen to know Professor Koppelman personally. He is a person of incredible scientific knowledge. He's held in very high esteem. I take his report very, very seriously. He says that Julian Assange would be a very high risk of suicide if he was extradited to the United States, given his current mental health and given the fact that he's likely to be put in solitary confinement, which would only exist.
Look how they treating that man. Look how they treating him. Look how they treating him. Holding him like that. He's not a human being. Come on, man. Come on, man. This is real stuff that we're dealing with, bro. Real shit.
Exacerbate his already severe mental health symptoms.
And assessments like this, bleak as they are, what effect might that have on proceedings at the Old Bailey then? Because Mr. Assange isn't just speaking for himself, of course. He's got lawyers, he's got health teams, he's got plenty of people speaking on his behalf in all this. But does his health have any impact on what's going to happen at the Central Criminal Court?
Well, certainly in theory and principle, a person facing extradition should have their mental health and physical health taken into consideration.
So now this is another thing that they're showing that you have to think about too. Solitary confinement in prisons where people are put in there for months at a time. This man's been in there for what, 2, 3 months, 4 months? And look how he's acting. What about the hundreds of thousands of people that they put in solitary confinement here in America? It's inhumane. These people are getting exposed on many levels. It is on us to pay attention to the exposure.
There have been a number of cases in recent years where people who have also been up for extradition to the United States have had their extradition blocked by the British courts on the grounds that the mental trauma and risk to their mental health and even the potentiality of suicide would be too grave to justify extradition. So there is a precedent in the British courts for blocking extradition.
So why are they not interviewing Trump and asking him about Julian Assange and WikiLeaks and how his pardon for him? Why they don't ask this in them pressers to Kayleigh? Why don't they ask him when they see him at these pressers or conferences that he holds every damn day? It's showing who the real enemy is. I said this on Facebook. In order to know the enemy, you have to study the law. You study the law, you learn who the enemy is very, very quickly.
On the grounds of a person's severe ill health. I'm hoping that this is a decision that the British court will take in Julian Assange's case, but I do know there is an incredible determination.
So think about it. Julian Assange puts out these emails, WikiLeaks, Barbados, Jamaica, other territories that is under the jurisdiction of the Queen, people are now trying to distance themselves from her, taking her from being the head of the state. Also, in Europe, they're trying to get her to her and her family to renounce their titles.
On the part of the British government, in alliance with the US government, to get Assange to the US regardless. And my fear is that his health issues, his health concerns, his health dangers will be overridden for the sake of that political objective.
Those are the two things, aren't they, about whether he's going to, whether the court has the legal obligation, as you say, about extraditing someone with severe health issues, or whether there is that one-way street, of course, when it comes to US extraditions. Just quickly then, how do you see this panning out? Do you think the court, very quickly, do you think the court will listen to this?
Well, there is always hope. The judge in the case has not been sympathetic to Assange. She's taken quite a number of negative rulings against him. So I'm not hopeful.
This is a battle between free speech and not free speech. You don't believe me? Listen, man, I don't know how to explain to you what this really is about. All right, let's watch something funny now.
If you see your state, you can register to vote online right now.
Let's do it.
was a very nice offer from President Putin. And I could have said no thank you, or I could have said thank you. And I said, I'll take it.
And now it's time to introduce my special co-host, Mr. Donald Trump.
Thank you, Susan, very much for being here.
It's Nikki.
Name whatever you want to name. I mean, I don't know, how would I combat news that's dishonest? How would I combat a reporter or a network that's totally dishonest? CNN is you know, it's 100% negative. I can't read this. They change fast. Change is so fast. Sometimes I'll say, wow, that's going to be a great story. I'd be a pretty good reporter, not as good as you. Just, I love that idea. I think I can do that. It's an amazing country with, you know, so many friends in Russia. And I'm very excited to be here. They're very nice. I make a lot of money with them. They pay me millions and hundreds of millions. Oh, here's a nice one. Here's a nice one. A great wall, and nobody builds walls better than me, believe me. And I'll build them very inexpensively. A great, great wall. And just in case you're worried about who's going to pay for it, Mexico will pay for it. And we'll see what happens. Who knows? I always say, who knows? But we'll see. I have a feeling we'll be successful.
So, you gotta look at the pure jokes, man. You gotta look at the pure jokes. You know? There's a fine line between trolling and having jokes. There's a very fine line when you do that. So anyway, like, share, and subscribe. If you don't, I don't care.